we remember the great Nelson Mandela, who has completed his long walk to freedom. Mr. Mandela's taught us what a difference one person can make. And as he said, the brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. May this brave man rest in peace.
To deny any person their human rights
This song was written for a very
is to challenge their very humanity.
Nelson Mandela called his life a long walk to freedom, a struggle to end South Africa's racist system of apartheid. As a young lawyer and activist, he initially advocated peaceful resistance until the 1960 Sharpeville massacre.
The police fired point blank into the crowd.
South African police killed scores of anti-apartheid demonstrators. For Nelson Mandela, it was a turning point.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
Mandela's African National Congress, the ANC, was banned. He became an outlaw, but he refused to back down. Arrested in 1962, Mandela was charged with sabotage and with attempting to violently overthrow the government. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. For years, for decades, the struggle for justice in South Africa continued, with the imprisoned Nelson Mandela as its symbol. At times, he was forced to break rocks in the hot sun for hours at a time. The government offered Mandela freedom if he would renounce violence. He refused.
Today marks the 25th year behind bars for Nelson Mandela.
South Africa became an international outcast, facing sanctions, boycotts, and growing political pressure.
Nelson Mandela should be released to participate in the country's political process.
Rock concerts for the cause were broadcast around the world. In 1989, South Africa's hardline president P.W. Botha resigned, replaced by F.W. de Klerk, who slowly began to dismantle apartheid. The ban on the ANC was lifted, and on February 11th, 1990, Nelson Mandela walked to freedom.
Nelson Mandela, free at last, and back among his people.
I greet you all in the name of peace.
27 years in prison had not weakened Mandela's resolve.
The armed struggle will go on as long as the government has not responded to our satisfaction.
But he also urged restraint, even forgiveness, telling blacks to, quote, throw their guns into the sea, and reassuring anxious whites.
Whites are fellow South Africans, and we want them to feel safe.
Mandela's courage and sacrifice were recognized around the world. In America, he was welcomed as a hero. Mandela and de Klerk were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. The following year, in the first mixed-race election in South Africa's history, Nelson Mandela was elected president.
Today is a day like no other before.
We were the first to interview him on that first morning as president-elect. Mandela tempered South Africa's joy when he said healing his country would take time.
It cannot be done overnight. It is going to take a year, 2 years, even as much as 5 years.
So help me God.
From enemy of the state to head of state, Nelson Mandela's walk to freedom became a journey shared by his entire nation.
I have never been so excited and hopeful in my life in South Africa as I am now.
Years later, Nelson Mandela paid a return visit to his former prison cell, this time accompanied by President Bill Clinton, who later presented him with the Congressional Gold Medal. Mandela stepped down as president in 1999. but he lived long enough to see the United States elect its own first black president.
So help me God.
Admired around the world and revered at home, Nelson Mandela's South Africa embraced a multiracial future and re-entered the family of nations. He leaves a legacy of freedom and proof that one life can make a difference.
We are one country. We are one people.
For himself, that all of you have showed up to show my brother love at this hard time, and the family gets to see all of you show the love that you've shown Paul. It's going to stay with me forever. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for coming down there and showing that angel up in heaven how much you appreciate it. Yeah! Thank you.
This song was written for a very brave man. A man who preached nonviolence.
When I try to sleep at night, I can only dream in red. The outside world is black and white with only one color dead. Oh, because
Of conscience.